Looks like we are live, I think. Just me today. Well, not today, just me for the moment. Our producer will be joining us later for our more official countdown to 420 stream. But I had some time and the inclination. I thought I'd come on and do a little bit earlier stream. It is 420 week, so we can, be jubilantly excessive in our weed usage. Queen Bee, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Happy hump day to you on our 420 week. And Queen Bee, you are our first friend here. So we're going to dedicate our first volcano bag to you today. Hope all is well. While this is inflating, I'm going to go grab some dog treats, see if I can't get them to leave me alone for a bit. I'll be back in just one moment. Go on. All right. Joe, welcome back, man. It has been a moment. Thanks for coming back, hanging out with us, Joe. I hope you've been doing pretty well. It's super exciting being 420 week here. I should move my. There we go. We'll sneak that there. Make that a little bit easier to see. Queen Bee says she's going to be smoking with us today. That's super exciting. What are you smoking on today, Queen Bee? Anything especially interesting? All right, well, here's our first bag, and we're going to try to be focused, although this isn't our official countdown to 420 stream. We're going to have one of those later this evening, more official, where we'll be doing our escalating amounts of weed for this week. So that's to come later this evening. Now we're just going to keep it nice and casual. Maybe we'll play a game of some kind. But we're going to do some volcano bags, hang out, chat, talk about some cool stuff. So let's go ahead and kick it off with our first volcano bag here for our friend Queen Bee. Thanks for being here. I still have that cherry slushy. I'm just about through it. Maybe I'll have some good new stuff for 420 on Saturday. Fingers crossed. I got a mush mouth today. The words they're struggling to come out. Queen Bee says that she's smoking on a Muha, Jack Herrera. Jack Herrera, one of those rare strains that I did have some affinity for. Still do. A quality sativa. And seems to be not quite as popular as it once was. It used to be all over the place. One of those super iconic strains. But now I don't see it as frequently. I'm not really looking for it, especially, but when you see a big wall of weed products with a bunch of fancy different strain names, I don't think I see Jack Herrera as much as I did 5 or 6 years ago. I always liked it. Oh, as I said, today we might be playing a game. I might just play something in the background while hanging out, doing our volcano bags. I've got this beloved game that I actually had to ban myself from playing because I was doing it too much. It was sort of the only thing I was playing, and it was crowding out so many other things in my life that I stopped. But you know what? Seems like a really good time to pick up another bad habit. The game is called Against the Storm. I've mentioned it here on stream before. It is a roguelite city building game, so those two very weird different genres smashed together, where you are creating a bunch of cities over and over again, trying to defeat a bunch of randomized starting conditions. It's great. It's a blast. It's nice and stressful. You can't really just sit there and think. And it seems perfect to play while you're getting super high because it's a game where you need to be at 100% all the time. So uh, maybe we'll have fun just letting everything go to hell, which may very well do. Um, Uninspired, welcome back, says, may seem sacrilegious, but lots of people I know mix tobacco with their bong rips. It gives you a wild head rush and body high, but doesn't last as long or gets you as stoned as a regular bowl. Uninspired, that is the more common way people consume, from what I understand, and this information is 5 years out of date. That is the far more common method of consuming weed in Europe, especially Great Britain, where it's usually called spliffs there, where they are tobacco, weed hybrid joints. And you are not the only one, Uninspired, who feels that similar sense of synergy between those two intoxicants, and they think it has a good, a pleasant additive effect. Like they complement each other as opposed to canceling each other out or negating each other. Which I guess also, Uninspired, and this shows a little bit my ignorance here. That's a little bit just what a blunt is too, in some ways, right? Because a blunt is a tobacco leaf. I don't, as the wrapper to the shredded tobacco, I guess, on the inside. And when you make a blunt with weed, you leave the tobacco leaf as the wrapper on the outside. I assume that still has some nicotine in it, but I actually don't know. If anybody out there does, please let us know. I've actually always been curious. Never been a big blunt guy myself, but I have always wondered if part of the appeal is that same, a little bit of tobacco with your THC. Ah, good old tobacco, man. Um, Tobacco, a drug that has had its real ups and downs um, in the public acceptance. Of course, after the 90s, smoking was blissfully way, way down. Smoking of nicotine, tobacco, in the United States and worldwide, but really hugely in the US, thanks to all of the great efforts in the 90s by a lot of different advocacy groups and a responsive government, a thing we haven't had in quite some time. We got a lot of people to stop smoking, and that trend just continued to seem to go down and down and down and down, of people using or tobacco-derived products, nicotine-based drugs. And then we got vapes, and then the youth started using nicotine vapes in huge numbers, and then we started having a problem with smoking again. And it's curious. I don't really, I am in no way endorsing or encouraging. I don't know. I've not heard anybody sort of attempt to quantify how much less of a negative health impact vaping has compared to smoking cigarettes. One thing I would always caution is we don't really know. We don't know for sure. I always talk about this with vaping, even weed. We just haven't had people vaping products for long enough to really know if there are any super long-term health outcomes. But go on, buddy. Go, go, go. Uh, I do wonder if vaping is, if all the teenagers are going to be doing tobacco again, in the idea of harm reduction, if it's maybe not so terrible if they are all vaping. I don't know, and I haven't heard, and I certainly don't want to encourage. Now, that all being said, the last thing about nicotine, the shocking, crazy thing that is on the rise with nicotine is smokeless products entirely. The rise of things like nicotine pouches, Zyn, I don't know how to pronounce it, ZYN. It's like this huge masculine thing. When I was young, I grew up in the deep South, and snuff was a popular thing. Dip is what we called it, where you'd buy a little can and stick it in your mouth, and that's kind of what this is, but little pouches instead of just shredded tobacco. And it is massively popular with the alt-right set, and we are now seeing this new resurgence for nicotine, and even again with the attaching, I was going to say dubious health benefits to the substance, but that's even selling it too far. The straight up misrepresenting its positive effects. So anyways, nicotine, back on the rise. Who would have thunk? Drugs, they just seem to be cyclical. Being said, uninspired, I hope your tobacco-infused bowl, bong rip, hit you pretty nicely. I imagine it did. Kitty says, I hope they don't start selling MMJ or tobacco in marijuana dispensaries, but she might be in the minority. Katie, I think that is a absolutely fine philosophy and stance to have. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought it through too much. I think I would be on your side. I don't think we need to be doing more to encourage people to consume tobacco products. But on the counter side, well, you are already at a weed dispensary. It does seem a little paternalistic to tell people, you can do this one inhalant, but not this other. Of course, it's not preventing, it's just not encouraging it by allowing it in other venues. It's a great proposition. I'm not sure. Right now, I don't think it is a problem, as those two things, at least here in California, there is a pretty stark dividing line. You can't really sell your blunt wrappers, your sweet and mild, sweet and low, sweet and mild, whatever, the Swisher Sweets. Shit, I'm really not showing my bona fides here today. But tobacco in a marijuana dispensary. It's a sticky issue because both plants they're sticky. I knew tobacco farmers growing up, and it seemed like the most miserable existence possible. I did a lot of forced farm labor growing up, but I never, thankfully, had to deal with tobacco, a product that I always heard. Basically, the entire process of growing, harvesting, drying took longer than a year itself. So you were always sort of log jamming your insanely labor intensive tobacco process into your last year's thing. It just sounded miserable. All the kids who dealt with it, I felt very sorry for. And just on the principle, like, children working tobacco fields seems, there's something not quite right there. But that's East Tennessee for you. Joe says, how much does your house smell of the devil's lettuce? Joe, great question. And Joe, the only way I could know for sure is by having a guest over and that guest preferably would have as little exposure to weed as possible, and they would have to tell me. I am obviously quite inoculated to the scent of it myself. And I certainly can smell it out on other people and in the public when people are doing it. But whatever kind of low-lying scent that may or may not be here, I'm not sure. I do, I do have a lot of benefit in that I don't actually don't have any bongs or pipes or any actual combustibles. Anything I'm doing is dabs or volcano bags, vapes, which helps with the odor quite a lot. So my guess, Joe, is it smells a little bit like weed, but hopefully not too much like weed. And I won't ever really know unless somebody tells me themselves. Because you can get used to the smell of anything. Sega says, hello, early today. Sega, yes, but this is not the only stream today. Knock on wood, just in case. Assume everything's going to be fine. But I'll be back with the producer later this evening as well for our official countdown to 420 stream, where we'll do our 5 units of weed. We'll run our gift gauntlet, all that fun stuff. I had some time earlier today. I've got some things planned in the middle of the afternoon, so a little bit later. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll come and do a short little stream here, very early in the afternoon, and hang out with people before our later countdown to 420 live stream. I have to finish this bag. I've been slacking here. This was our bag for Queen Bee. We've got 2 B's in chat. We've got Queen and Katie B. Both awesome, both longtime friends, both happy for them to be here. And I hope I didn't conflate you guys again, but my total bad, if so, I just now noticed for sure we had both of our B's. Thanks for being here. Hi, buddy. Good to see you. All right. Exodus. Welcome, Exodus. He says, hello, Weeats. Hope you're having a good day. I am, Exodus. Thank you. I hope your day is going great as well. Katie says, I'm nervous about U.S. big tobacco jumping into bed with weed growers. Katie, that is a very valid fear. It is certainly going to happen. Unless laws are drastically changed soon, it is very clear that the communal, small business, entrepreneurial, small farm, house-run distillate factory operation, all of that is that has done so well for, well, I don't know if so well is right for the description of the cannabis market, but provided a decent number of people a decent living here in California. All of that is at risk of being sucked up by big money. I'm not sure whether it'll be big tobacco that wins the race for weed. In a lot of ways, they kind of failed. They're doing better now. And this is a bad thing, this isn't a good thing. They fucked up the vape market for the smokeless tobacco stuff. So we can hope that the monsters, the goblins, the evil ghouls running whatever the fuck they're calling Philip Morris now, don't make all of the weed money. It is possible. I mean, they're going to try. They're already trying. But it's possible they don't win. But somebody with equally big pockets or equally patient investors is going to end up cleaning up out here. Consolidation is going to be the name of the game. It is happening even in the weird world of quasi legality that we have here in California and other places with recreational weed, they are already finding ways to consolidate businesses, merge things, cut out competition, even though technically there are both these cultural and also legal barriers to prevent those things from happening. It's just inevitable. There's just too much money, and there's every incentive towards a huge influx of cash coming in and helping to corner some aspect of the weed market. I think it's inevitable, and it certainly isn't great, but I don't think anybody has the appetite to do anything about it, and I'm not even sure that weed is in the top 10 of the markets that I would like to fix and have some new focus on regulation and deconsolidation. Long answer, but great questions and observations there, KDB. I think you are right. I think big money is coming for weed. It's not coming. It's here. It is now. All of the companies are battling it out to see who's going to be the Monsanto of weed, be the Nestle of cannabis. It'll happen. But how fast and who it is, that is totally unclear. Long answer. I really appreciated the question or the topic, though. My dog did not. He was really upset by it. I wish my streaming software wasn't so good for my microphone, that it cuts out all the other noises, and sometimes these dogs just make the craziest fucking sounds. Speaking of, you can see the dog that made the noise that you didn't hear. But instead of not hearing the dog, you can actually see him. I posted a picture of his ass on Discord last night. We have a Discord thing we're starting up. It's getting there. Let me try to post our link here. It used to pop up all the time, even when I didn't want it to, but I can add it right now. If anybody's interested in joining, it's a cool place to be. Let's get ourselves a little link. Sega says, nice dab on Stan. One Stan. Think I maybe lost the context there, Sega. Queen Bee, back to what we were talking about with our blunts, black and mild. I think I conflated spoonered up 3 or 4 different names for popular blunt wrappers, and thank you, Queen Bee, for clarifying. Mark is joining us from England. Welcome, Mark. Mark, glad you're here. You can answer this question for us. We had Uninspired here earlier recommending, even though he said it might be sacrilege. I don't think so at all. I think it's to each his own, and if it's the way you enjoy it, more power to you. But Mark, Uninspired said that he likes to incorporate a little bit of tobacco into his bowl with his bong, and I said that is a very popular way of enjoying weed in the UK. Is that true? That's like the spliff, right? Is the half tobacco, half weed, or some different ratio, but it's a much more common thing there than it is here in the States, I think. But you can be the one to clarify for us. Carl asked, have I given up doing reviews? Carl, I can't say that I've given up doing reviews. I and I can't even say the thing that I want to say because why would I put myself on the record? I can honestly say I don't have any reviews in the pipeline right now. I don't, unfortunately. I would like to. And my producer, our producer, a lovely producer, is really trying to get me back to doing them. So, uh, more encouragement, the more you guys bug me, the more it's likely to happen. And, it might just be a nice surprise sometime in the some point in the indeterminate, can't place a timeline, but hopefully, maybe, kind of, at some point, maybe there'll be like a little maybe something soon. Fingers crossed. Maybe it's part of what I am doing in between streams. But I'm going to stop there. Mark clarifies, he says, it's not in a bong, but in the joint. Yes, the joint is where the spliff is the name of the spliff. And that is where it is more common instead of the bong bowl itself. Queen B says, yes, please do more reviews, which we now know is Queen Brittany. Thank you, Brittany. The good old days. Well, that is another alley towards the, I would like to do it. I will briefly admit, I am a little afraid that it could jeopardize our whole operation again. That is one of the big things that's keeping me back. But at some point, I have to just try again. So the uploads are the things that seem to get me in trouble most often with YouTube. And I have not uploaded anything since the last time I got my strike for selling drugs, according to YouTube. Obviously have never done that. Very infuriating. So there's some hesitancy on me, just like, 27 times bitten, 28 times shy. We'll see. But I appreciate the encouragement, and thank you everybody for saying it's so nice, everybody. I really appreciate the encouragement and the how much you guys like them. It's so fun to do them. Obviously, I mean, who doesn't like getting high on edibles and vapes? It's not really much of a task or a chore, but there is a part of me that's like, oh shit, this whole thing could get nuked, and I that would make me quite sad. But who knows? And they're a capricious bunch over there at YouTube headquarters in their $400 billion valuation. Mark says, if anyone adds tobacco to a bong, they need many, many, many years of therapy. Strong position from Mark about his desire to see tobacco and cannabis as a chocolate and peanut butter. I've definitely done it a couple of times where people I've been with have enjoyed it. And I see the appeal. I do see, it's not something that I would do frequently or even that, maybe a couple times a year. It sounds nice. I'm much more in it for just the weed, but I totally see the appeal and see that sort of energizing thing from the nicotine goes well with the more laid back feelings of the weed. So, but Mark, however, not for him. And I also no hate against the purity there as well. I get it. And tobacco is not for everybody, nor should it be, nor should weed. Everything in moderation or something. Let's do our second bag here. talked about both our bees. We had our first bag for queen bee, first one here. Let's go and do the second one for Katie bee. With the excellent topic of tobacco and weed. Are they chocolate and peanut butter, or are they oil and water? And should it be sold at your weed dispensary? Fun, interesting, and totally open for debate topic. So, Katie B, this one is for you. Thanks for your great contribution. Let's get people caught up while this bag is going. So I mentioned a couple times already. I'm sure I'll mention a couple more before the stream is over. This is actually not the official 420 Countdown live stream. That'll be later this evening, probably sometime around 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So pretty late, but I had some other time I wanted to come on and this week do as much as we can, hang out as much as we can on our 420 week. So that's why I'm here, even though I will be back later this evening, unless something goes terribly awry. Here's a fun thing. I will try to take a picture and post it on the Discord link I just shared. I get to go on a water bike today. I'm very lucky. I live very close to the water here in Long Beach, close to a couple of different bodies of water. And there's this little outlet that rents. They look as ridiculous as they sound. You could Google a picture of them. Water bikes. They are what looks like a bicycle on two like banana pontoons, and you pedal it like a bicycle, and you go out into the where I will be the I forget what they call it. They call it many different things here in Long Beach. The bay, the channel, and this little operation, this little business, as I said, they rent these out. They're always out at night. They've got lights on them. It's super fun. I've never done it. But we're getting to go. There is a massive research vessel that is close by to where we live that studies, I believe, like plastic dispersion in the Pacific Ocean. It's like the vessel that studies the Pacific garbage patch. And they are launching a new research operation. And as part of their celebration for this, they've just invited people from the community to go ride those bikes that they rented out for some reason. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is pedaling out in the bay on a bicycle strap, like a bicycle where a seaplane would go. So if you think a seaplane, it has those two little pontoons, but instead of a plane, it's a bicycle. Sounds fun. I'm going to see if I can't find a picture for it. Boat, bike. Oh, those are some crazy pictures I'm seeing. Oh, that looks this like, you can buy one on Amazon, believe it or not. Let's just share it. If I can get this link open. Never mind. You can look for yourselves. For whatever reason, my image search is having some issues. So I'm gonna go do some boat biking today. Boat biking. I think that's the proper term. I hope I don't fall in. It's gonna be very cold if I do. I grew up on the water, not the ocean, but a river. I was fortunate in that way. So I think I just made that comment because I was talking about swimming and being around water. That was a total non sequitur. We're 2 bagged in. So yes, I will hopefully try, if I can remember, while I'm out there on this boat bike, I'll take a picture and post it on Discord in this same body of water. And I do have a photo of this. I have a video. And I will also post this to Discord if I can remember at the end of this stream. I saw some dolphins swimming around earlier today. Got a video of them. I see dolphins a lot here. It's one of the very coolest things about living on the Pacific. I get to see dolphins once a month, maybe more. I always act like a little kid. It always just brings me immense joy to see them. And this time I got to see them somewhere I have never seen them before, somewhere that is very surprising. I hope I get a chance to have a very close encounter with one on a boat bike. But unlikely, because I've never seen dolphins there. So if you want to see a dolphin jumping out some water, check out our Discord. Dolphins. Who doesn't love dolphins? Great. Porpoises. If we, animal metrics, trying to gauge things like intelligence is a fool's errand. What do we mean by that? But let's just, indulge this for a second and say, dolphins are probably behind the apes, the smartest species on the planet. As we all know, especially bottlenose dolphins, but all whales, what are the names for that whole genus? All very intelligent. But man, dolphins, just so fucking cool, just so blessed with so many amazing, awesome things that are incredibly rare. Dolphins get to do echolocation, and they still get to be they get to do one of the coolest things that we know mammals can do, a thing that is exclusive to bats, and otherwise a pretty lousy role in life if you're a mammal, is a bat. Sorry, bats, but, on the mammalian hierarchy, I think I would want to be something a little bit larger, a little bit more imposing, a little bit less susceptible to communal fungal diseases than bats. But dolphins, on the exact opposite scale, they're in the water, they're mammals, they're fast, they're super bright, they're playful, and they also get echolocation. Those motherfuckers. Now, of course, we know that some of those things are more than just, are maybe even causal, like having the ability to echolocate might make you, by what we conceive of as intelligence, what we deem to be smart, maybe being able to detect or hear things, see things with sound, makes you have a bigger brain. I don't know. Dolphins, you lucky sons of bitches. I love seeing you guys, though. About the orcas, the killer whales attacking all of the vessels. Is it a case of like frequency fallacy, confirmation bias? Are we just... I know, actually, I mean, let me back up for a second. In case you are not aware, there is a huge spike in I mean, a giant spike, because before a couple of years ago, it was practically unheard of. Orcas, killer whales, attacking human ships, and not infrequently even sinking them. And there are no great answers as to why. Of course, there are a lot of theories. Most of them are too anthropomorphizing, too trying to inject human psychology into a killer whale to, I think, really take seriously. But I would love to know why they happen. But it is also possible, and is it, even though there are significantly more reported numbers of attacks, the fact that there are more reported things means that people are now more likely to report it, even if they weren't before, because people might not have even thought, if they had been attacked by an orca, if their boat had been sunk, like, oh, maybe this is a thing I need to document with some agency. It could be before people just didn't even think to share that, especially if it wasn't catastrophic. So I don't know. I do think it is definitely, truly, massively fascinating, though. And I wonder if it is a thing that will continue to see get worse. I haven't heard anything recently, whether it seems to be abating or not, but it really does make you want to anthropomorphize and say, like, yeah, get him Free Willy. You know, it's time to get your vengeance, killer whales. But it's probably not what's going on. It would be my guess. But they do seem to be wreaking some havoc out there. And now globally, it used to be concentrated in like Scandinavia, the Arctic Sea kind of area, I think. But now it seems to be happening everywhere, anywhere orcas are present. Reminds me, I should always recommend this book. If you, I've talked about it several times before. It is an incredible piece of nonfiction. Um, I'm just having to look up the title again. One second. It is a book about animal senses, Umwelt, the sensory perception sphere of other animals, non-humans, and how different their sensory experiences than ours. And as I was just saying, talking about the dangers and uh, inadequacies of using human-like emotions or explanations to explain animal behavior. That book is An Immense World by Ed Yong. I will just write that over here. If you are interested in any of that bullshit, I was just talking about dolphins and shit. Check out An Immense World. You get to learn about whale internet. Whale internet. Those whales, the bigger the better, basically have an internet that moves at the speed of sound, not at the speed of light, in the deep ocean, where and with certainly less packet transfer than our modern internet, but they can transfer one packet at a time, and whales can go out there in our deep ocean. Big blue whales can bellow, and that noise can be heard for like 1,000 kilometers, maybe more. We don't know precisely. And then you can actually watch a whale song, message, noise spread throughout the ocean as one whale transfers this call from another to another to another. A slow moving whale internet, message to message, whale to whale, node to node, that moves again at the speed of sound. So instead of our internet that moves at what can circumnavigate the globe 7 times in a single second, the whale internet, it takes a couple hours to, maybe longer than that, to circumnavigate the globe. A slow internet. Fun to think about. Check out Immense Work. Just a truly great book by Ed Yong, science writer for The Atlantic. Love it a lot. Love it a lot, a lot. I am so sorry, guys. I have been really neglecting chat and this bag. Let's focus on the bag for a second, and then I will get to chat, get caught up as best as I can. John says, welcome back, John. Puff, puff, cough. Puff, puff, cough, pass. Cough, cough. Doing a 510 thread vape cart. Golden goat distillate with botanical terpenes. Sounds great, John. Thanks for sharing, man. I've got my 510 cart here with Atomic Apple is the strain. It had the highest THC count, the brand I was buying at the moment, which is often the one I end up picking. And John, there are those marketing words, phrases where they've been workshopped for a long time. A lot of people have gone up to bat to try to come up with the phrase that's going to become the de rigueur, the one everybody uses for the product or the service or whatever. And some marketer deserves their wings with whoever coined the phrase botanical terpenes. It's so great sounding. It sounds so exotic and refreshing and luxurious and something and very natural and borderline healthy. But it's, just a fancy way of saying plant-derived terpenes. But what a great term, botanical terpenes. It's so good, I imagine it will become like the industry term for plant-derived, cannabis-derived terpenes. Botanical terpenes. Ooh, it's great. That is great. Bag. Gotta finish this bag. Here we go. Uninspired says, got a Puffco by chance? I do, Uninspired. I have the Puffco Peak Non Plus. Just the Peak. I've had it since 2020. It is my device that I really want to love more than I do. I am not 100% sure. I hope it works right now. Maybe I should try to test it before 420. It was so close. It was so close, Uninspired, to greatness. The battery-powered portable concentrate vaporizer. But the durability of that thing was so shoddy. It was so finicky. My primary problem with it is the little atomizers, the heating element, would break after a week. I ended up having to buy 4 of them in the year or so. I bought 4 at one time after replacing individual ones several times. I ended up replacing the atomizer at least like 7 or 8 times in a year, and they weren't cheap, and it got so frustrating. Maybe though, it's just worth testing out to make sure the thing still works. It's just sat in my storage. Actually, I've got other weed devices over there. If everything works, maybe we'll have a Puffco here for 420, so we can do one of those on our big weed tour of the day. So close to being great, but the reliability of the device was just not up to par, even if the experience was pretty cool. And as in some ways, I think the experience of a Puffco was a little better than the Mini Nail. The Mini Nail, way more reliable, but I actually think the Puffco had a more reliable, big, giant hit you could get. That could be a function of this particular water pipe, but I'm not sure. And I do know they have a even fancier version now, the Huffco Peak Pro Plus, whatever we're calling the extra P's now, pluses or pros. Uh, they seem like they box themselves into the corner with calling it the Puffco Peak. And then what is higher than Peak? Well, whatever one of Apple uses for something. Pro, Plus, who gives a shit? Add that on there. So I know they have an even better one now. I have not purchased it. My initial experience didn't make me want to rush out to buy an even more expensive one. But I have heard from several people, though, it is vastly improved. And that all, eventually, we made it here, uninspired. I would love to hear your take on it. Which one do you have? What do you think? How does it stack up to your other concentrate intake vehicles? I'd love to hear your thoughts. You are a man of who's been around some weed devices and has an opinion I think is worth listening to. Sega asks, where's the plug play? Sega, that's a great question. That is another thing, and no promises. Maybe we will have one for 420 as well. It would be a nice little. It's one of my favorite things in weed. It would be a perfect 420 indulgence. So no promises, but we may see a plug play on Saturday. Thank you for the suggestion. Love me some plug play. John says they can be fun or a nightmare depending on cooperation. I think he's referring to the long ago referred to, my bad, that's on me, bicycle boats. The boats, bike on a boat. I keep saying reversing bike and boat in those things. Doesn't matter. It's going to be fun. I hope. I mentioned briefly, I guess wanting to talk about it because it's the second time I was going to say it. Yeah, I love being out on the water. I don't do it enough. I live so close to the water. Here's a humiliating fact. I do love swimming. I grew up like being inside of a river for 9 months out of the year, all but the coldest ones. But since moving here to California, it wasn't until 2021, I think, that I fully submerged myself in the Pacific Ocean, and I am very close to the Pacific Ocean. I've been living here for like 6 or 7 years before I did it. My excuse, I will admit it is an excuse, you shouldn't forgive me, is that Long Beach's water is pretty gross. We have a breakwater that was put in during World War II, way off on the way out into the Pacific. There is a just big barrier out there that was a breakwater put in during World War II by the Navy to basically make the waves, the tides, a little calmer for the harbor, for ships to get in and out. Just makes it way easier to maintain a harbor for big military operations when you don't have to worry nearly as much about big Pacific style waves coming in and tearing shit up. So since then, Long Beach has had this breakwater, and it has several negative externalities. It kind of has to exist because they've reclaimed so much land from this breakwater that if they got rid of it, I assume things would flood. But in addition to that base thing, it means that we don't get waves. You don't get surfable chop. You don't get surfable waves out here in Long Beach, even though we are on the Pacific. Basically, anywhere north or south of Long Beach is incredible surfing territory, other than the eponymous Long Beach because of this breakwater, and it has these piddly little things. And the extra consequence of having basically low tidal effects and no big choppy waves is all of the trash that both runs off into the ocean from the LA River right here, and just collects and makes its way out from the city and in from the Pacific, all just gets kind of trapped in Long Beach, and it is a filthy, 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 gross body of water, unfortunately. It's heartbreaking. I live right here in Long Beach, but it is not water you want to be swimming in, and not even sand that you want to be doing a lot of recreation in, because it's just filled with shit from the ocean as it cannot go flushed out to sea, where the research vessel studies it in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and for some reason means that I get to ride a water bike. Who knew we were going to make a full circle? Because I get to water bike because a research team studies the Pacific Garbage Patch, and they decided to rent bikes for the community. Neat. Fuck, I am so far behind on chat, guys. I am so sorry. Let's finish this bag for real. 100%. Oh, I've got a clock thing. Producer usually... We have suffered without our producer here. Thankfully, she is hopefully planning on joining us later this evening, but it isn't the same level of production without her. We're going to give ourselves a little sonic encouragement to get through this second bag so we can get on to our third, move on to chat, all kinds of other fun things. I even had original ideas that I was going to play a game. Maybe I still will. Who knows? Okay, that's annoying now. Almost done. Oh, great news, guys. I found out last night, after our 420 countdown to 420 Days of Haze stream last night, I found out wonderfully, blissfully, I'm all healed up, guys. I mentioned this a couple times on stream. I've been playing so much boxing Thrill of the Fight here on VR, or had been, and I got so into it. And I'm also, I guess, an old man now. There's a really depressing piece of evidence. I tore a muscle in my, I was gonna say pec, but that's so dishonest. It's a little despicable. In my boob area, I tore a muscle here trying to get this big ass Russian motherfucker, this like 6'8" fucking titan of a dude. I was working on my left hook, trying to get him on, pop him on the chin. I've turned into a real violent person, apparently, and I tore something, legitimately hurt myself, shadow boxing, punching at the air. It's humiliating. But last night, after stream, I was like, I haven't felt anything. No pain recently. No crying when bending over. No making pathetic little whimpers when having to twist my torso. I'm back. I'm ready to go for this asshole again. And I'm happy to say I did it last night. He destroyed me. This 7 foot tall Russian juggernaut piece of shit. But hey, at least I wasn't almost in tears from how much my boob hurt. So I'm back. I'm fighting again. I'm back in fighting strength. I'm ready to take on the shadow people. Watch out. Nothing's gonna stop me from swinging at air. Thrill of the fight on MetaQuest 3 with pass through. It's so great. Pass through on Quest 3. Being able to see your surroundings at all time. It's so fucking great. So underrated. I'm looking at you guys right now. I'm in pass through. See? I can see you. How neat. I think my eyeballs are going off. My webcam has tracking, face tracking, and it doesn't really work when I have a headset on, but it works shockingly well. Let's give it a real try here. When I put googly eyes on it, let's see how well it doesn't seem to be working at all. Wait, no, here we go. Yeah. Oh, no, definitely not. Well, we tried. And maybe it's because my eyes are Rick and Morty level offset with each other. But it does work better with googly eyes, the face tracking. Who would have thunk? It is not tracking me right now, even though I've got two eyes and a mouth. That being said, Quest 3. Pretty great. Pretty great. Thrill the fight. It's worth the boob hurt. That was a fun little detour. And I still didn't get through the bag. Uh, Mark says that he swam with dolphins, and that John was one of those 1-year-old baby YMCA swimmers. Ah, they did like the whole throwing you in the deep side of the pool, holding your little body up as you kicked. Great skill to learn. Got to learn to swim. It's one of the few things I was good at as a kid was swimming. I never had any trouble picking up swimming, and always loved it. I grew up in East Tennessee, which I've mentioned many times before. I keep threatening to talk about this river, this mythical river. I've mentioned 3 or 4 times now for some reason. Had one of those some pretty awesome dope swings, big rope swings, several different ones into the body of water. And then the pride and joy was a floating platform that could fit like just that we had suspended across 2 trees in the little river. It was just literally what the river was called, the Little River. And little floating platform that could hold like 8 people, a bunch of middle school boys wrestling around on it. And man, some of the most horrifying moments of my life are on that floating platform on the Little River. You don't know terror, you don't know horror. I am not somebody who thinks of themselves as particularly afraid of snakes. I have the healthy level of fear that seems to be truly innate with people in serpents, snakes. I'm not petrified by them. I'm not cavalier around them, but I'm not, no more, I would say, than the average. Maybe even slightly less afraid of a snake, of all kinds of snakes, than your average Joe. And that might just come from a youth spent reading about snakes and trying to find out which ones would kill you and which ones weren't. So maybe that has a factor. But I can't imagine how much worse what I'm going to say is if you were one of those people or are one of those people with a healthy, understandable fear of snakes. If you're one of the many people who are like get anxiety, truly panic attack, histamines blowing up around histamines. No, your cortisol levels spiking when seeing snakes. So I don't know why we're here, but it sounds fun. It sounds like a good story. Bear with me. Snakes, horrifying. Let's get to bag three. Man, guys, you guys have been it's been so great chatting with you. You guys have been so lively, asking such cool questions, really keeping the conversation going. I'm sorry I'm behind, but it brings me so much joy to always see you guys talking to each other, um, bringing your cool questions, asking your sharing your knowledge with everybody. It really is. It's so dope. And I will use that as a caveat and or an excuse and say like this third bag just gonna be everybody or everybody out there in chat. I so appreciate it. I will get caught up before too much longer. So we're on our third bag. Doesn't sound like we need it, but them's the terms. And while that is getting started, we will talk snakes. Snakes on a platform. In a platform. Third bag coming up. Oh, we let it go. We let it go cold. And by we, I mean me. My bad. You know, even she's only been with us like 3 weeks, our producer, behind the scenes, and already I've forgotten how to do things, the basic things without her here. So let's get this up to temperature. Am I going the wrong direction? Yep, I'm subtracting, not adding. We want to get up to like 410. It's heating. It's at 340. Let's do a small little vape pen as penitence for letting that get cold on us. John says better than sleeping with the Dolphins. And as we all know from Hank Hill, who was assaulted in a very personal way by a dolphin in an episode of King of the Hill, our relationship with dolphins can be quite fraught, and we shouldn't make fun of those who have unfortunate, uninvited trysts with poor piss. Was I trying to rhyme that? Voice also. Don't have our producer here to help me fill the airspace. So doing all myself, talking myself hoarse. Yes, be careful with dolphins. They're amorous creatures. They are one of the few species that all of these things are dangerous. All seem to be in danger of misinterpreting things. But let's just bracket that, put that aside. Dolphins do seem to be one of the species, and it does seem to be correlated with intelligence, that likes to bang for pleasure, that fornicates purely for the joy of doing it, and more so than the purely need to reproduce. And they got that up there with us simians, especially the bonobos. Bonobos, horny. I mean, chimps get all the love, but it's really the bonobos that are the kings of the apes, man. They are lovers, not fighters. They're horny as hell. They hold hands during sunsets. They're very gay. They love banging man on man, woman on woman, man on woman on man, chimp on or bonobo. It's great, bonobos. We love you. You're the real star of the simian world. I think we have finally hit temperature. Yes, leaving that on there a little too long. This bag's for everybody. Bag 3. Snakes. Let's finally do this. I keep talking about it. So yeah, I grew up on a river. Had this amazing floating platform where it just was a neighborhood destination. People would come and swing on our swings, wrestle around on our little floating platform. But on that floating platform, in addition to the pure, just most crystalline version of joy of young guys horseplaying, there was moments of terror like you wouldn't believe. On this platform, it was designed in such a way that it had these wooden slats that were suspended over a floating medium and blah, blah, blah. I don't need to get too much into it. But there were these floating slats with like a half inch maybe of space in between each of the plats, the little slats. Pick a turn, stick with it. So a little gap, and then on top of the slats was a like padding and carpet that was stapled on top. So, but there were little gaps. It wasn't perfectly. Well, there was, I guess, a piece of plywood, but there were underneath of it, like floor joists. There were little gaps between each of the slats, and a nice carpet on top that would take in the beating sun of the day. And what would always happen is water moccasins, cottonmouths. Got to be careful. Some of these get used wrongly. This was a cottonmouth, not a copperhead. A water snake, water moccasin. Same thing. They would frequently go and sun themselves in between those slats and get deep into the floating platform, and they would be in there. And you would always start off any session by like throwing some pebbles and rocks at the floating platform to get the snakes out. Just like St. Patrick in the Irish. You're driving the snakes out. But, you throw some rocks, disturb the floating platform, jostle it a bit, and, 3 or 4 several feet long water moccasins would come slithering out. That is, that in and of itself is just like, ugh, gross. But more often than is safe for anybody's sanity, there'd be some stubborn son of a bitch who wouldn't go at the initial warning rock barrage. And I'm not saying we were aiming at the snakes or trying to hurt or maim any snake, just throwing pebbles at the thing, saying, wake up, guys, there's going to be people wrestling here. Not with any intention ever of hurting or injuring or doing anything bad. Just little rocks to wake these sons of bitches up so they'd slither out and off into the water. And you would just have to bucket and bracket that knowledge that, like, oh shit, I know there are at least like 4 fairly venomous snakes in the immediate vicinity that I can't see here. But we were crazy. However, as I said, too often some snake would say, I'm in too deep. I know your game. No pebbles are going to disturb me. And you would go out there with your friends. You'd, either be chilling there, laying around, or more often than not, playing like King of the Hill or something on this thing, which was designed for such purposes. And as you were tumbling into the water, as somebody was knocking you off into the water, at that same moment, some huge water moccasin that you did not realize was still uh, staying in there was now making their escape from all the ruckus of people rocking the boat of their home. And you would plunge into the water feet, inches, roughly parallel to a big, giant, pissed off snake. Poisonous, venomous snake. I do. I am not shitting you. Thankfully I smoke enough weed that I don't have many dreams at all anymore. But there would be times I would dream that horrifying image years, 20 years later, with just that image. I don't know why I felt like you guys needed to know that, but I'm going on a water bike today. A bike boat. Bike boat. So it's water related. Now you will share in my horror. It's fine. And the snakes were okay too. Nobody ever got bit. Thank God. Bag number 3, snake trauma worked through. I think I'm overplaying. I was never traumatized by the snakes, but I think you guys can in your head imagine how actually fucked up that is though. If I haven't scared you away, let's get through bag number 3. The producer and I saw a movie recently. Our AMC has this awesome program, and I think Regal does it as well. So the next biggest theater chain in America that I heavily endorse. I think it's really cool. It is gambling, and I'm traditionally not a fan, but the price is right. These theater chains have instituted this program called, and I think each one might have a slightly different name for it, but it's essentially the same thing. Screen Unseen. And this is a super awesome innovation. This is a, as far as I know, it seems almost, I can't imagine it really existed anywhere else before. It is a post-pandemic movie theater innovation to try to drive people in, which movie theaters are still very much suffering. Anyways, what it is a movie. The theater will play a movie that you do not know what it is ahead of time. It is just revealed as, advertised as Screen Unseen. You don't know. It gives you a running time and a rating. And if it is horror, it will call it Scream Unseen. It will clue you in. It doesn't want you going to go see a horror movie unless you are absolutely certain that's the genre for you. So that's the only time they even reveal the genre, if it's horror. So you don't know what movie you're seeing. There are 2 other cool things about it. One, it is a movie that is not out yet. You are seeing a sneak peek at something. This is a movie that has not yet released in theaters. The producer and I just saw the newest Guy Ritchie movie a couple of weeks ago through this program. Forget what it was called. It wasn't very good, as many of these seem to be. But you don't care so much. So you're probably thinking to yourself, why would I go to a movie theater to go see a movie that I don't know what it is? That sounds like a terrible idea and investment. Well, they're only $5. It is a cheap gamble. They understand that you don't want to go spend $20 on a movie that probably isn't going to be very good, because the average movie is not. But I still think it is a fascinating and cool program. I bring it up because we saw, not the Guy Ritchie movie, we saw a movie not with a giant snake, but with a giant spider, and I got to witness the unique phenomenon of people's phobias really dictating. This is in no way, no judgment. This is a movie we saw about a alien spider. It's called Sting. It's pretty bad. It's not worth seeing, and it's not the interesting thing. But when the Spider starts to get its screen time and it starts to be revealed as this big, giant, gross, basically Black Widow, several people immediately got out of the theater and left. There is a like almost unique with arachnophobia, and it's uh, crippling hold on people. It's like debilitating. I lock up seeing them. People are so disgusted by spiders that they just said, fuck it. I invested my time and money, but I'm not going to sit through a big spider. And that is rare for people to walk out of movies writ large. It doesn't happen often. And I saw 5 or 6 couples over the course of this movie leave. It was bad, but no worse than your average, not so, run of the mill horror movie. The only thing that made all these people leave, I believe, is the fact that it's a spider. And it is, for some people, they just cannot deal with it. It is, and why would they? If it is something that is, has that much impact, I don't blame you for leaving. But Sting, don't see it. And especially don't see it if you have arachnophobia. But I do heavily recommend you guys, if you are a fan of movies and like a modest gamble that doesn't really have a huge downside, give the Screen Unseen a chance. It's a cool idea. I The hit ratio for me, I've done it like 4 or 5 times, is admittedly not great, but I still admire the innovation, and I like that idea, and I'm optimistic one of them won't be a Guy Ritchie movie. Um, Sega says he's dabbing out of his UCAN right now. Sega, I had a UCAN years ago too. I think I actually still have it in my big thing of weed gadgets that no longer work so well. Buried deeper than the recently mentioned, not that recently, Puffco Peak. But I had one. It's a good, solid, huge, chunky son of a bitch portable vaporizer. Much more portable than the Puffco, which is less portable and more transportable. That might be a distinction and sort of a difference, but the Puffco is not something you're gonna pull out of your pocket. It has a big globe on top. It's a production. It's battery powered. Doesn't require electricity, but it's hardly portable. You can, it's portable, big chunky guy, but it eventually succumbed. It just, either it's my failure to clean often enough, but I feel like I clean those things pretty frequently, or the harsh conditions that you put a vaporizer through that makes them not so great. My you can I might still work, but it was in a sorry state, so it might not come back out. But it needs to go to electronic recycling at some point if that's the case. We've all got too many batteries in our lives. John says that they have 3 different UCANs and they use them all every day. A lot of people love them, and they are, I mean, mine was like $60 or something, a fifth the price or something of a Puffco Peak. So in terms of value, they are a really good product for the money, even if they are not built to last forever, or at least not for me. We also have GTR Zero. Welcome back, GTR Zero. Sorry I missed your comment. Sorry I missed all those comments about our orcas and all that fun shit. It took us a while. We got our 3rd bag here. Let's make some progress. Uninspired does say that he has the Puffco Peak And he said he got like a lot of wax from it, or sorry, a lot of smoke from not so much wax. I do think it really was great at producing nice, even, clean hits in that system when it was operating at peak performance, which was not as long as it should have for a product of its cost and complexity. But Uninspired also says that he is going to get the Beyond, which is maybe what I was calling the Peak or the Plus or the Pro. It might be the Puffco Peak Beyond, is the Apple iPhone 16 Pro Max of the Puffco Peak world. The Beyond is the Pro Max of portable vaporizers. Branding, it's tough. Branding, man. It is tough. I I've kept the Weeats name all these years. It's I actually at this point kind of like it. Picked it out of desperation, confusion before, but it's grown on me, and it's really nicely SEO optimized. Real churches there. Weeats. Ain't nothing spelled like that. Not that it's really done much for me, but yeah, branding. You gotta invest or something. Something about branding. Pretend instead of just petering off into nowhere with that conversation about branding, that I said something really profound and interesting. Just in your mind, supplant what is there of like, oh, where was he going with that? What was the point of that? Instead of having a question, just go like, oh man, just substitute something way more interesting. And please do me that favor. 3 bags. And guys, this is not our only stream today. We are going to be doing our other actual countdown to 420 stream later this evening after I get on that bike, of which I will have a picture that I will share on Discord. I hope. I also have a video of a dolphin. I'm threatening to upload that to Discord as well. Who doesn't love dolphins? Let's not retread old ground. Uninspired says Long Beach has one of the few remaining Hooters, and that he hopes it stays open for praise that it stays open for many more years. Yes, Long Beach's Hooters. It is right in the most touristy part of Long Beach. It is the closest restaurant, I think. Yes, I'm pretty sure. It is the closest restaurant to our quite wonderful aquarium. So if you're out with the family, seeing a whale fall, a simulated whale fall at the Long Beach quite wonderful aquarium, and afterwards the family is famished, you're all hungry from watching the crabs devour the whale's ribs in the awesome simulated whale fall exhibit in the aquarium, you could say, hey guys, let's go see some whale tails and go to Hooters. And maybe your family will leave you after that. That is not my fault if that is the case. I cannot say that I have been to that Hooters, though. I have been to Hooters. Tricky topic, tricky subject. I have been to Hooters a couple of times in my life. Not any recently at all. I went a couple times right after I graduated from high school. one of my best friends in high school, his grandparents got him a $200 gift card to Hooters for his graduation and celebration that he had. It was both for his graduation and his acceptance into the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. His grandparents, God bless East Tennessee, got him a $200 gift card to Hooters. Bad news for him, good news for me and my other friends. He had to be at the Air Force Academy in like a month. So we went to Hooters several times in that month before he left. Thanks to his grandparents. What were they thinking? Why did they get him? I don't even remember it registering as that weird at the time. Surely it was we commented on it that his grandparents got him as Hooters, but it is now, both with thousands of miles separating me from that place and years of 2 decades of experience, it is very bizarre. What a gift. What a gift for your grandchild, a Hooters gift card. I of course only went to Hooters to read the articles. But that, I think, would have been the only times I've been to Hooters. There was one close by to my high school. God bless East Tennessee. Hooters. So yes, uninspired. Come to Long Beach. Come to Long Beach. Come to apparently one of the last remaining Hooters. They're on hard times, it seems. It looks like... Did you guys know that there was a Hooters airline in the 90s? Hooters was so flush with restaurant cash. They hadn't had any of their gross competitors out there, getting into their once cornered market of exploiting young women, attractive young women, for their obvious assets to make a restaurant out of. I'm sorry, Hooters. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. We all wish Hooters Airlines had made it. Couldn't you imagine? Oh man, if you thought airlines were packed already, well, wait till you see it when the hostesses. What's the correct term for flight attendants? When the flight attendants are Hooters girls, then you'll really know the definition of a packed flight. Something like that. That was never their logo. If you ever want to try it again, Hooters Air, I give that to you for free. You can have it. You don't even have to credit me. As a matter of fact, don't. For the love of God, don't. What a stream, guys. This has been so fun. We've talked about snakes. We've talked about Hooters Airlines. We've talked about an immense world. We've talked about animals' umwelts. We've had a blast. We've had almost our 3 bags. We will finish this bag before we go. So, just to remind everybody, again, one more time, this is not the actual official stream for today. That comes much later in the evening. I will, knock on wood, be back with our producer. We'll come back and do our traditional countdown to 420 stream. And by traditional, I mean thing that I made up finally on frantically Monday. You can see the results of 2 hours of, oh shit, I said I was going to do something special. What can I do in a couple of hours? and also not work that hard on it still. If you want to see how cool that looks, tune in tonight. Probably, let's say, somewhere in the realm of 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 p.m., unfortunately, for our East Coast friends. That's also why I came and hung out with you guys earlier today, in case it's too late. Z 24/7. Welcome on these days of haze. That's what we're calling it. I don't know if we've said hello yet. It is glad you're here. Hope you can join us later. Let's give ourselves some ticking clock. Hope it's not too annoying. Before we come back, producer and I together for our official 420 live countdown to 420 live stream, subtitled Days of Haze, the Weeats first annual traditional experience, semicolon, another descriptor, dash. What do we call that? What that's the two dashes is. What's the name for that? Something. Help me out, my grammar friend, my grammatically superior. What do we call two dashes? An M dash, something like that. Yeah, I gotta do even more weed this evening. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be fun. UFC Temple, it's going great. Asks, any advice on how to build and find a community on social media? Sega, table that. I hope we see you tonight. We'll talk about that. That's such a great question. I really hope we get to see you because I would love to chat with you further about that. I have some real thoughts, and I think we can both help each other. I think I would love to offer you whatever dumb advice I've got, but as a person who watches streams and likes engaging that way, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it too from the opposite direction. So I hope to see you tonight. Please, if you do, bring that question back up, and we'll talk about it then. All right. Well. Just reiterate, had a blast, guys. Thanks so much for the awesome questions, awesome comments. It's going to be even more fun tonight, and I hope to see at least some of you guys. I hope to see everyone, but that's not going to happen. I hope to see some of you then. Thanks for hanging out for this early little stream. We'll see you guys later this evening. I'm going to go out on this bag I just gave it. Next time you see me, I will have biked, pedaled on the ocean. I was going to try to do a biking thing out of here, but I don't have